Welcome to Java and thank you kindly for joining. It is June 26, 2025. It's also Thursday. Now, today is going to be a big day in contrast with yesterday, getting quite a bit of market data prior to the market open at 8:30 a.m. starting. This day it's going to be a large one and inclusive of the consideration for what is going on tomorrow morning prior to the market open. There is a lot to go over. So, with this, let's get started as always with what's on in the markets. Fear greed meter still in the greed territory. Yesterday did have an update, kind of closed out a little bit flat with the NASDAQ tech sector up, but this was not a broad based rally. What ended up happening is a few names, namely the chip sector, kind of dragged everything else up with it and gave it the underpinning. In particular, was NVIDIA. We've got a bit of continuance. It looks like about to happen this morning, at least, with some of those names. Now, I'd like to go over first off the 10-year yield has dropped slightly from yesterday. Little bit of buying into the bonds. Little bit of it, forced buying has not happened yet, but that's staying relatively stable. Now we've got, in contrast, relative strength of the dollar is dropping, in particular in relation to the euro. So the euro quite a bit stronger this morning than the strength of the dollar, and we're going to watch capital flows because of that. That in itself is making the United States stock market much more appealing, as it is less expensive for those with euro to invest. Now we're going to look at a hallmark is Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency in general is a little bit weaker this morning, not significantly, still above the 107,000 levels. We're going to watch it here to see if it can make another run and advance towards the closer to the 112,000 level is the next one we're looking at on the upside, otherwise back down to 101. Now Ethereum is a little bit higher today than the others, showing weakness. These a lot of times will lead the tech sector and the markets in general. Are the factors here? Volatility relatively flat. Gold also up slightly but relatively flat. Now the futures are showing a weak continuous, but it is kind of with a little bit of a bullish tinge to it. So we've got green to mixed on the markets. However, I would not be shocked at all with weakness toward the end of the day. And we'll talk about the calendar and why in a bit. Now, we've got the NATO summit still happening, and the US president talking about doubling tariffs on Spain because they are a little bit resistant to coming up to the 5% of GDP spend, which would be a massive win for the defense sector stocks there, as well as in the United States. So we'll see how that plays out. We've also still got the deadline for the 9th of July for these trade deals that have to kind of come to the table still. We've got Trump is moving markets by talking about picking J. Powell's replacement a bit early. Whether he would make moves on that or not is almost irrelevant. The fact that he would choose one early and make more of that noise is enough to affect the markets a bit. Now, what is the Fed actually looking at? Their main driver now is going to be unemployment. And we had Amazon come out, the vice president, ex-vice president, came out saying that there will be an artificial intelligence driven workforce reduction and that they will not be keeping everyone. So, kind of telling them to buckle in because there's going to be more layoffs coming from Amazon, as well as a lot of the larger tech companies. We've got furniture manufacturers coming out saying that they're trimming forces, and a lot of corporations that are cutting that bottom line by cutting their labor. To the calendar now. So this morning, a lot of this prior to the market open, 8:30 a.m. Trade balance, inventories, the key one here, initial jobless claims, And we're going to be looking for the GDP. Now, this second revision, and they have to keep revising this. That should alone tell you something about this. But these are the numbers the market is going to react on. We've also got pending home sales. Tomorrow morning, prior to the market open, we're getting all of the key reports. This is personal income spending, which kind of shows a view into the strength of the consumer. But more importantly, the large mover will be PCE, because that shows the uh, core numbers that the Fed is really looking forward to. Now, we've got some specifics. NVIDIA did drag up the markets yesterday. They're at a new all-time high. Micron also kind of riding into this as they're looking forward with a lot of guidance, and they're putting out very positive vibes, talking about looking forward. So this is what I believe is going to drive a bit of continuance this morning in the markets, and we'll see what happens toward the end of the day. Now, looking forward to this inflation numbers, and they are expecting it to continue, of course. It's just going to be whether they expect it or not. So it's all about the dialect that they use. We've got Pfizer, PFA is Pfizer. They're up on advances and some hemophilia. So if you see some market movers on these are just the back reason why. Now we've got new home sales plunging to a 7-month low. Now this is largely regional. However, I'll talk about a little bit of what is affecting this in a bit. Mamdani is running for mayor of New York City. This is causing a shock in real estate. And the reason is he's talking about massive rent controls. So that would cause a lot of builders to flee if they cannot get enough in rents to justify the cost of building, as well as some of the larger businesses are looking at moving out if he does indeed win. So this could be a massive economic shock for New York City. We'll see what happens here. We've got Bitcoin in an illiquid supply climbing to over 14 million, reflecting a strong, as they say, hodl trend. That means that this portion, 14 million, out of 21 total possible that doesn't even exist yet, but 14 million out of 21 not moving at all. This is according to Glassnode. And this is a separate story, but it goes along with it. We've got some extremely underpaid Bitcoin miners refusing to sell their Bitcoin, even though it hit all-time highs again of late. They are holding on to this. And what this means by being underpaid, it means with the hash rates and the amounts that they're getting in rewards is not worth the mining energy that they're paying out. So this is a bigger reason they're holding out. They are expecting the price to go higher. Now, Google saying that they made it easier. Now, I don't know exactly how, but they've made it easier for Gemini to interact with your device. This is through their artificial intelligence, but now many are worried about privacy. Really, anything on Google is not private. So just a little key in there, but yeah, they're concerned about them tracking all of their texts and things now. So, with everything going on in the Middle East, I thought this would be interesting, particular as a keynote to go in with the housing. Now, in the United States, we're a bit spoiled. We don't have to be worried about these types of things. But what this is an ad for in Israel, they've got innovative wartime solutions now offering blast protected apartments. So just want to put this in here to brighten your day, that if you don't have to be concerned about a blast protected apartment, then take it as a blessing. They're also coming with reinforced safe rooms, while other projects facing delays. So now clearly personal security is now the top priority, and this is what is selling over there. So happily not living in the Middle East. So this is a story brought up in the discussion last night in the Discord. Now the FAA, they're the ones that control the Federal control of tower control for airlines and all of the airspace air traffic control, talking about their upgrades. If you haven't heard in the news, there's been quite a few incidents lately. But the reason I want to bring this up is I have brought up earlier this year, as well as late last year, that there has been forced compliance upon the airlines to move all of their systems and upgrade to 5G. Now, on top of this, they are upgrading their controls now, and the top names related to these projects. It includes several companies. You're going to recognize some of them. You won't recognize either some of them. Leidos. Now, this is military company. So is RTX's Raytheon. Verizon, probably the only one that is not directly military related. L3Harris, also a large military contractor, and Palantir, so far top contenders for the current modernization effort. So this will eventually lead to full control. In particular, if Palantir gets all of your travel information, they're going to be in control of this. So just want to bring that after a light spot. Want to go into this a little bit further. Palantir again in the news. I've been warning about this company for a long time, and I hope this video makes it out because it really doesn't like when I talk about some of these things. But Palantir is partnering now to develop artificial intelligence software for nuclear construction. Now, in this specific instance, they're talking about nuclear construction for energy. Nuclear reactors. However, at the very base of it, is it really that far off? So, just in consideration of this, to make this even better, we've got the World Bank, which is at the very base of it, for the most part, funded by the United States of America, and IAEA, which, if you don't know, is the Safety Board for Nuclear Power. They're going to cooperate on this and with safety. And so what they're saying, Banga is the head of the World Bank. His quote, "Jobs need electricity, so do factories, hospitals, schools, and water systems. And as demand surges, with AI and development alike, we must help countries deliver reliable, affordable power." So what does it boil down to? This means that taxpayers, again, are going to be pouring money into this fund, which is going to be funneled to Palantir so that they can control all of these nuclear facilities, the development, the building, and more of these travel. It is expanding and it is getting to a point of ridiculousness. So I just want to bring this up to watch this. We've been watching the move to the stable coins. And with the stable coins, I've got this last story that I want to leave you with, just to bring you a little piece of what we can look forward to. Edenred. Now, this is more French meal voucher system, but they're unveiling updates to this with reform. Now, over half of these are paid for in public contracts. So again, public money funding these. And while this is about France and Brazil, for the most part now, this is a view into what is coming for all of the other Western nations. Now, supermarkets are right now account for 31% of their spending in restaurants, 40%. So a large portion of the meal area. Now, France's system serves 5.4 million employees for them, and it covers 235,000 merchants. And what this is controlled by is the government. Now, they rolled out imposing cap fees for the merchants, but they are going completely digital. Once they transition to these digital vouchers, government will also dissolve the National Commission for them, which would transfer all of this oversight completely to the Banque de France. And they are saying that this is in order to streamline the authorization process. So giving bank full control over this meal voucher process. Now they're going to expand their usability. they are talking about expanding their Sunday usage, meaning that they can control the days and times that these are used. I want you to think about that. Unused balances will not carry over, and this shift is designed to stimulate timely consumption. So, going forward with this digitization, with all of these, this is going to expand. We're looking at universal basic income that this is going to cover in the future. And just to show you a real world example, it is in effect at this moment right now. All they have to do is expand these a little bit, make them cross border, which is what is coming. Stablecoin CBDCs are here now. I just want to make you aware of this. So, my friends, with all of this, I do wish you a wonderful day. There are good things ahead, there are ways around this. So, with this, until I see you again, my friends, resist.